right hand, left hand, and I don't think he's going to get up. I think it's all over. I think it's over. Is he going to get up? Can he get up? Can he get up? He does. Oh my goodness. Somehow Fury has managed to get up.
If you haven't already, please also subscribe to us on Apple, Spreaker and Spotify. Just type in Brawl Boxing and you'll find us there. Thank you.
I just want to start by giving a shout out to our amazing sponsor, CBD Uplift. They provide the best CBD products on the market, including oil, gummies and capsules. I've actually tried the products myself and I can genuinely say they're the best CBD I've ever had, especially the gummies. I'd seriously recommend anyone. If you use our discount code BRAWL20, you'll get 20% off and free shipping. So thanks a million, lads. Violent Gentleman, the newest and fastest growing boxing-inspired training/casual wear brand established in Northern Ireland. Violent inside the ropes, a gentleman outside of them. Behave accordingly. Check out their website, www.violentgent20.com, and all of their socials. Facebook, ViolentGent20, Twitter, ViolentGent20, and Insta, ViolentGentleman20. Thank you.
So it's a pleasure to get you back on, Johnny. You've obviously a lot has happened in the boxing world and your career as well, but you're looking in serious shape. Are we going to see you in the ring sometime soon on a Triller card?
Well, there's been some whispers, but I don't know how serious it is. So, but I'm just in case. But you never know. I've got to keep in shape anyway. Too vain to go anywhere, do I?
Do you still work? Like, do you still hit do you hit the pads or do you hit the bag?
Yeah. I'll do the gym, weights gym 3 times a week. I'll do the boxing gym 3 times a week on those days. I probably have a day off, but I think the only difference is that I train once a day instead of twice a day, twice, 3 times a day like I used to do. I think it's just habit, it's lifestyle.
You've got that fitness up, so you might still be able to make cruiserweight. What do I think?
No, cruiserweight. The only way I make cruiserweight is if I chop a leg off, and maybe another one. So the cruiserweight days are done.
How is that app, Johnny? Talk to us a bit about it. Your Box Pro app.
So the Box Pro app, it's actually doing pretty well. We actually thought when we launched it, we'd probably get first year about 5,000, and then you build it from there. We got that in the first 2 months, and it's going mad. And we're just adding stuff on day after day after day, and I think we're just trying to navigate people through now. Whereas usually if you walk in a gym, you'll walk around and you think, I might do this, I might do that. And that's why people have personal trainers, just to give them a structure. So the Box Pro is now something like that. If you're into boxing or you're into that cardio, that boxing cardio, it's perfect. It's the perfect answer. And we get the odd guests on as well to show the workout. And trust me, I am no ballet dancer. There's no finesse there with me. I'm too old and fat for that thing there. So I guess out like the rest of them. So it's a good laugh. Spencer Oliver and myself, we have a good laugh with it. So it's just like being in the gym. It's just a good giggle.
Do you not find it hard? Like it seems like you're always working. You're always constantly traveling around the country, traveling around the world, really going to fights. Is it not hard to sort of stay in shape? Like, I imagine there's a temptation to just eat junk food all the time and stuff, when you're
so I always have a kit bag with 2 sets of kit in my car, always, because sometimes if you train at a certain time every day when you're at home, when you've got to travel, that time gets messed up. So regardless, I'll allocate at least 1 to 2 hours a day, either before I get up, before I've got to leave to go to work, or the last thing at night, and slot it in that way. But I've always got some kit with me, because otherwise you're going to give yourself the excuse not to train because you've got no kit. And then, eating habits are hard, because sometimes you may be working and not realising you thought you were finished at 4, you finish at 7. So it does get hard sometimes, and that's why probably my weight's fluctuated a little bit. But it's just picking up habits. There's always time. And you know what? If you've got to get up at 7 o'clock to go to work at 8 o'clock, get up at 5:30. Do a little workout then, and then take it from there. There's always time.
What about Adam? What's Adam benching?
Is he on the Box Pro app?
Listen, you will find any given Sunday. Usually, what happens is you'll find Adam's workout is you'll go come to fight week. We're in a hotel. You go down to the gym in the morning, and Adam will be on the bike, but not the bike where you pedal and you like a normal bike. It's those bikes where you sort of sat down and he'd be reading something like that. It's just like, I'm like, what are you doing? But
probably wearing a suit. Adam probably sleeps on a suit.
That's his workout. No, he'll turn up in like I can remember when Naz was boxing and then we all got sponsored with Adidas, and Adam's got that gear, that old gear. I'm like, come on, Ads. But he's doing something. So as long as he does something, it's funny, but it's all right. But I've got to give it to him. Regardless, he's always in the gym. He's always there doing that, regardless of how small or big it is. He's doing that in the gym.
You have to rate it. So, Johnny, obviously, we all know what's happened over the last few months. You've probably not been able to talk much, and now you're getting inundated with requests to talk about it. So we are going to ask you the questions. The Matchroom and Dazn deal, did that kind of take you a bit by surprise? For me personally, looking at it, you know, you're losing like one of the major broadcasters in the UK. That kind of side of maybe like, you know, the free advertising on Sky Sports News, for example, that's a massive thing. For Dazn to do
during matches, they used to like bug fights and stuff.
But we've got to remember, we've seen this before. We saw Satanta come along. We saw Box Nation come along. We saw various promoters wanted to hit a boxing channel, and that's because he loves boxing. Eddie loves boxing. I love boxing. Boxing fans. I think the subscription for Boxing News is probably about 30,000 a year, 30,000 a week. So, but that's not enough to sustain the channel, in my opinion. But Eddie, and I will tell you now, is the best promoter in the world. Eddie knows what he's doing. He's got bottle, he's got cojones, he's got guts, and he's a go-getter. Boxing has gone to another level worldwide in regards to Eddie's foresight. I think this on this occasion, I think in regards to Dazn coming along and offering a deal that, you know, you couldn't really turn down, he's taking a big chance. But you've got to remember, you know, how often are you going to walk into a pub, a hotel, a bar on holiday and see Dazn on the screen? And so if I said to most people that weren't boxing fans, who did Katie Taylor box on Saturday? They'd be like, Katie Taylor box on Saturday. Where with Sky, you've always got that chance of that crossover appeal where you'll get people like, oh, boxing fans, I think, oh God, such and such fight, and I'll watch that. And this is why you had 90,000 people at Wembley when Anthony Joshua boxed. And this is why a casual fan will like know and be aware of this, because Sky has a unique platform where you'll get football fans, cricket fans, tennis fans, darts fans, snooker fans, all those fans that are watching that, and in the breaks, they'll say such and such fighting on Saturday. The platform's there. So I understand Eddie's passion. I totally get it. And I think if anybody can do it, Eddie can do it. But I think with Sky have been doing boxing for 30 years. We've been the ones that have stood there through thick and thin. We've been the ones that have seen them come and go. We've been the ones that have produced the best. The saddest thing about it is, of course, you know, I mean, I love watching Conor Benn. I love watching the guys come through because I've seen them come through. Now they're on another platform. I still watch them because I'm a fan. But the good thing about it is it gives an opportunity for grassroots to come through. It gives an opportunity for kids that were probably on the undercard of Katie Taylor, Conor Benn, or whatever. We didn't see them because they're on at 5 o'clock before the TV came on. So now it gives them a chance to get seen. There are a lot of talented fighters out there that people don't know about. The reason being, you know, don't know what they might not have the platform. They might not have that gold medal hanging behind them. They might have that personality, but now they have an option. I'm a fight fan. I'm an ex-fighter. I always look for where the fighters will benefit. To me, as long as the fighters benefit, I don't care who's showing it. And so now it's a good chance for almost every fighter to get an opportunity. You have BT, you have Dazn, you have Sky. If you're a fighter, it's a great time to be a fighter. And so to me, I just think, as a fan, good news, more product. As a fighter, good news, more opportunity to fight. As a broadcaster, as a reporter, of course, to me, it's great news because now we're going to have to introduce you and introduce ourselves to a new stock coming through. Kids that never really got a chance for us to see. So again, I think competition is good. I think we've all we've all basked in the verbal excellence of Eddie Hearn, and there'll only ever be one Eddie. But now we've got to hit another way. And we've managed for 30 years, so I'm quite sure we're going to manage again. But if anybody can do it, Eddie can do it. But as I said, competition's great.
So obviously Eddie was at the front and center of everything Sky Sports Matchroom. Ben Shalom's come along. Is that going to be a similar? You know, he's gonna work like Eddie Hearn, or is he more backseat guy? Because no one really knows about him at the moment. He hasn't really been out there. There's no real interviews. So
and if I'm honest, I don't really know how it's going to sit. I personally, I said something the other day. We're forgetting, you know, and Eddie responded to it. I saw him on IFL. It was bang on right. He said, you know what, you need a preacher, you need a salesman. Eddie, and Matthew Mackin said something like, Eddie could sell a car with no wheels on. So he's got to preach to you. He's got to make you listen. He's got to shake you, bang on the windows, get your attention. But there's one thing you're going to remember. It's about the fighters. That's who we're going to watch. That's who you're interested in. That's who you're turning your TV on for. You're not turning your TV on to see Eddie. You're not turning your TV on to see the thrills and spins. You might turn the TV on to see the ring walk, and you want to see the fight. And that's what you're going to watch. Eddie's just the icing on the cake, and he's the greatest at it. So I think Ben, speaking to him a couple of times, he's not Eddie. So I'm thinking he'll be happy to sit in the background and let the product do the talking. And as time goes on, the product will speak for itself.
What about you, Johnny? What if you took over the role of Eddie?
No way. And listen, I you know what? Again, it's like an Eddie appreciation party here. But I said he's wasted being rich, because this guy, he's like, I look at, I just chuckle to myself. I think, where have you got? He'll be talking about X, Y, Z, bam, 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 throwing them out at 1,000,000 miles an hour. And I think, you know what, mate? You're never home. You're never home. You're always on the road. So the fight, that's great. As a promoter, that's great. His work ethic's unbelievable. Can you imagine being his wife and kids? They never see him. I ain't willing to do that. And so his work ethic there is outstanding. So good on him. Good on him what he's doing. I've known Eddie since he was probably 10, 11 years old. I used to be promoted by his dad, Barry Hearn. So I know that even though people think this kid was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, you know, this kid loves the sport inside out. This kid knows what he's doing. So give him a chance, man. You've got to back him up, and he can take the stick. He can take the glory. He can wind it up and throw little grenades in now and again. But again, it's about the product. So therefore, the Dazn are there, Sky are there, BT are there. It's about the product and getting the fighters out there to fight. Now they've got to be consistent. Boxing needs to be in a position where you can go to your grandmother, and I'm talking about boxing. She'll say, "Oh yeah, I saw it on TV the other day." Sky is that platform where that is the platform. That's where you're going to get it. That's where you're going to see it. And unfortunately, I think to get to that level of exposure, you're talking 5 years to get to that level of exposure.
Yeah, I would agree. Like we had this conversation among ourselves when the deal was sort of happening, and we were saying the likes of the in recent years, like the Frotz Groves, sort of big fight weeks, the Bellew Hayes, all the rest. Like AJ sort of anomaly. It's like AJ was in a big golden boy. He's going to sell himself. Like, but a lot of these big fights, like with Frotz and Groves, has been as big. If it wasn't Sky backed, absolutely no chance.
Yeah. And that's what I'm so I'm old enough to remember when boxing was on BBT, then ITV, and then Sky came along, and you were trapped in between, thinking, should we go to Sky for more money but less exposure, or should we stay with ITV and BBC, be a household name like Frank Bruno was, but maybe it's not as much money. Slowly but surely, everybody migrated to Sky because you got the money, and more people were getting Sky in their households. Now almost everybody has got a Sky TV in the households. Sky have made it easy enough for you now not to have to subscribe to the whole sports package. You can subscribe to boxing that night, and that's it. So they've made it easy for you to watch it. And so again, and that's taking the licks, that's taking the criticism, and that's eventually the cream rises to the top. If they're only going to do this, again, they're going to have to go through the same thing Sky have gone through. So the subscription's gone up from $1.99 to $7.99. It's probably going to go up even more. My opinion. That's just my opinion. So, but it's going to take years of people saying, getting comfortable with it, years of actually saying, oh yeah, this is a, you know, instead of having to, they've got to be in a position where people don't have to go looking for it. It's in your face. And if anybody can do it for them, it will be Eddie, because Eddie and Sky were a great partnership.
So you've aligned yourself. You sort of had a press release last week, announced some of the fighters that would be a part of Sky now. You've got Josh Taylor, who's probably the best British,
he's the best,
without doubt, pound for pound British fighter at the minute, and one of the best in the world. Do you think you can make him into the star that he should be?
Yeah, the opportunity's there. It's all down to him. It's all down to him. It's about opportunity. It's about exposure. I think he was in on a league of their own the other day. So now you're not just seeing Josh the fighter, you're seeing Josh the personality. So I'm quite sure they'll put him in more position where the public can either warm to him or love to hate him. And regardless in boxing, being the villain or the hero, either way, the fans watch you. And so now it's about opportunity for fighters that probably didn't get. Let me give you an example. Say Anthony Joshua and Dylan White both pushed and worked with Eddie, but Dylan, would Dylan be thinking, well, are you favouring AJ over me? Would he have got as many opportunities or breaks or as much exposure if AJ wasn't there? You know, so now you're in a position where you've got to look at fighters, and fighters got to think, right, I need to get in a position where I've got a chance. And I'm not waiting for somebody else to make their move for me to make my move. And so now that a lot of the fighters that have come to Sky, and there'll be more, so I'm hearing, that have come to Sky, there's an opportunity there. There's a doorway there. But it's a big gamble, because at the end of the day, if you're a fighter, you want to win fights, you want to get titles, and you want to get paid. And if you're getting those three things there, you don't care who sees it or what. The vanity side gets hold of you then, and you think, well, not many people are seeing me now. I'm on Dazn, I'm on Big T, I'm not on Sky. But you've then got to balance out what you want the most. What is it you're chasing? And again, it's about opportunities for fighters. And to me, I'll always wave the flag for the fighters. And if anybody's doing anything for the fighters that's in their best interest, I will champion them.
I'm sure you'll be kicking down the door to get James Hannison, will you?
Yeah, baby. That was funny. Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. With all that sort of stuff, I just thought, you know what? There's so many outlandish things that have happened and that have been said to get people in. They're like, my phone was on fire. That James Dennison line. But I thought, you know what? At least people know who he is. At least they know who he is. And so he didn't be big in his chest. I'm saying, yeah, at least he had the opportunity for people to know who he was.
So obviously, Sky also signed Chris Eubank, which is huge. And everyone would love to see that Saunders fight. Do you think that's something that realistically could happen, or is it just too far away?
I can't see why it wouldn't. Happen. They're both fighters. They're both fighting men. Yes, Billy beat Junior before, and if he hasn't changed anything, the same thing could happen again. So, but Junior has aligned himself with Roy Jones Jr., who's polished him up. Instead of being an unbelievable athlete, he's polished him up to be a boxer, fighter as well. So things have changed, and Junior's done that because he needed it to add it to his armour. So this fight with him and Billy Joe could happen. It just depends on how much the fighters want it, and that's it. The public need to understand, when fights don't happen between fighters, it's not very often it's the fighters that don't want the fight. It's not very often. It's the show business, and it's the business that usually messes up the show. So most fighters want to fight each other. Most fighters want to get in with each other, but the business messes it up.
Yeah.
There's only one thing that's needed to sell that fight, Johnny, and it's you. Them two gloves are off around the table, and the buys, the subscriptions, anything, be wild.
You know what? You know when they talk about the gloves are off, I think, and everybody says, what was your favourite one? And I would say the one that really, it was a eureka moment, like, oh my God, this can be mad. This was when Carl Froch and George Grove were there, and Carl pulled him over the table.
You can all have a little push and a pull.
And I thought, shit, because you thought, what's going on here, man? But then you were able to measure when fighters were faking it, when fighters were bullshitting their way through a conversation. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do this. And it's a great way to get together. Then you had George Groves and James DeGale. So you felt the tension, you felt the heat, you felt the hatred, all the love between fighters. So something like that, I tell you now, you can imagine Billy Joe against Junior, gloves are off. That'll be mad because they're both sharp-mouthed, they're both very witty, both very clever. Again, it'll be something, if it happens, it'll be so exciting, it'll be untrue. Because that to me is as important as the fight itself. That to me drags them in.
Yeah, like that fight as well would definitely, you know, when you get them big fights we talked about, the Bellew Hayes and the Frost Groves and stuff, it's like for 1 week of the year, like boxing is as big as any, you know, as big as football almost. It's so mainstream. Like the likes of Eubank and Saunders would have that ability to really capture the public's imagination. Like,
but the reason why that is because Sky have got it down to a fine art. There's been some cracking fights on that we just haven't managed to that have not managed to be channeled down there. The weekend there was the build up to the Josh Warrington fight, and I knew it was a big fight, it was a big quest, but not many people were aware of it unless you went looking for them. So these kind of big fights, Sky have got it down to a T in regards to promoting, in regards to pushing, in regards to where it should be shown, where it shouldn't be shown. And this can happen again. We know the formula inside out. It can happen again. So it's just a matter of time. And you always need a dance partner. So there's no point in being the king of your division if there's no anybody else there that's going to give you hellfire. And I'd say Sky are great shit stirrers. So when it comes to putting people together, they're great. So to get fights together, to create that interest, that's something that people want to watch. Sky have got that down to a T.
Well, how about this, right? I'm going to make you a proposition. The gloves are off. You versus Eddie. I'll do your job. I'll sit in the
Eddie's too sharp and smart for me. I'm a fighter.
You can talk as well, Johnny. I would be closer than you think. I'm telling you, you can both sell it to me. Like,
let's do boxing. Then we're in. But listen, that would be funny. That would be funny.
Are the gloves are all? Is it coming back to Sky? Can you give us an exclusive on that?
As far as I know, nothing's changed. It's just about getting the fighters in together. So I can't see why it wouldn't happen. I'm not going to say it's definitely going to happen. I'm just saying, as far as I know, it's not changed. So it's the right fight, the right time, and the right build-up. So I'd be very surprised if it didn't. We'd stop doing it, but nobody's told me of that. You know, it's just waiting for the fight, and you don't want to drown it. You don't want to do it with every Tom, Dick, or Harry because it waters it down. You want to do it with fighters that are, you know, that you want the attention to. You want the big seller.
Well, tell me this, Johnny. Obviously, I've got AJ Usyk coming up in a few weeks. So it'll be like he's obviously the only sort of fighter, as far as I know, he's the only one that's still with Sky, but also with Matchroom. Is that right? So is it going to be like getting the band back together? It's going to be a bit awkward between you and the Matchroom boys, or is it just going to be like?
Let me just tell you, you know, when we did our last show with Matchroom, and it was like everybody gets on. It's business. And so when we left, you know, when we were leaving the building, everyone was going home. Everybody's giving each other a hug and, you know, see you soon. That's just like it's business. There's nothing personal at all. And it might have happened, not as far as I know anyway, and it might have happened with other promoters or broadcasters, but with us, with Matchroom and Sky, it's cool. Honestly, it's really cool. And listen, I watch Dazn and I look at the when they're presenting it, I'm thinking, Tony, man, you're doing a wicked job. You know, and I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it like a fan. So there's no animosity. It's just what it is.
Were you tempted to go there though?
No, I'm all right. I've been with Sky almost 20 years.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't even a consideration. And Eddie knew who he wanted to get on his team to do what he was doing. So Eddie knows what he's doing now, what he wants to push out there. So that's down to Eddie. But I'd not even thought about it. I've not even been approached about it, if I'm honest with you. So it wasn't even a second thought in my head.
I know you said it's all cool between you, but we had Frank Smith on a few weeks ago, and he said Adam Smith was around throwing eggs at his gaff. So, you may need to have a word with him. No, on a serious note, Johnny. So the AJ Usyk is a fucking huge fight. Like, and I don't think a lot of people in the sort of general public are like realizing how big of a and hard of a fight this is. Like Usyk was sort of number 2 pound for pound 2 years ago, like, and it's still right up there. What's your predictions for the fight?
So Anthony Joshua, and if anybody thinks this is a pushover, done deal, they're stupid. This is a tough fight. Alexander Usyk's a very good fighter. I saw when he was one of the chief sparring partners for Vladimir Klitschko when he was fighting Tyson Fury, I think it was. And he was handling his own then. He was a cruiserweight then. He stepped up the heavyweight. He's not made as much of an impression at heavyweight because the weight's on now. He's with bigger guys that can hold a shot, that can give a shot. So he's not been as impressive. His boxing IQ is second to none. It's ridiculous at cruiserweight. I was probably underwhelmed with his performance. Not underwhelmed, maybe surprised, and given a reality check with his performance against, was it Witherspoon, and then and then Chisora, and I thought, and so there's a massive difference. Then you've got Anthony Joshua, tall, rangy, athletic, powerful, and he's fresh, he's hungry and confident. Now I know if I was in AJ's team, and because I know that Usyk style, how you'd have to dissect that style. What you'd have to do is don't let him bullshit you, don't let him pressure you to making moves you don't want to make. You work at your pace, work at your angle, work at your direction, work to your game plan. If you watch when he boxed Tony Bellew, he got Tony Bellew working when he didn't want to work, made him pressured him. And Tony was fighting off, and actually Tony was actually ahead on points when onto the stoppage of the fight. So he made Tony work by pressuring him. That's a great tactic. But if your confidence and belief in what you're doing, stick to your game plan. You've got the power to hit him. You're going to bam. You're going to stick to it. It's what AJ has to do. Sticks to his plan because he's not going to be as unorthodox as Usyk because his style of training is very unorthodox and he's done it for years. But AJ has shown accuracy, power, speed. He has the weight. I see him running around in Sheffield on his morning runs. He looks sleek. He looks slim. So he's not bulked up. So now it tells me he's there for the distance to make sure he's on his toes and he's working all the way through because this is how this fight can go. So it's not like he's bulked up because if you do that, of course, if you're a good cruiserweight and you're in with a heavyweight that's big, it's like you can jump in and out and get in and out of there. AJ's looks like he's working on speed, accuracy and power, and in doing that, as long as he sticks to the game plan from Rob McCracken, he should pull off a win. But it's not a done deal. He's got to listen, and so he's got to the stage now where he's improving every fight, and improving every fight where his boxing IQ is getting better. He's submersed himself in our sport. He's made that commitment. He's moved into Sheffield for 3 months before the fight. That's what he's done. He does this thing, but he still trains when he's away from here. So this is a tough fight, but it's a fight I expect him to win. But it's a tough fight because he's on against the undisputed cruiserweight champion that's got a mandatory position, which means he has not been picked. He was chosen by the governing body to say, this is the man you've got to fight next. This is the man we say is his rightful. It's a rightful opportunity to fight you next. This is the tough fight, but I do believe that you're going to have two elite athletes working to the best of their ability. And there's a saying that a good big can always be a good little. And I think this is probably one of those days.
Johnny, the more I listen to you, could definitely hold your own way, Eddie.
I know.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now.
He's always a brilliant interviewer, isn't he?
Yeah. Johnny, I do think you need to get brawl boxing involved in this Sky Sports setup. Like, I think you need to go and have a word with Adam Smith and say, "Nah, I have the 3 perfect fellas to get
If
involved."
you want to
with
take it to
Sky
the next
Sports."
level, Johnny, I'm telling
That
you.
is next level.
No, I'll tell you what, if you want to get Adam in with Adam boxing Eddie Hearn, that'd be funny.
that can be arranged.
Johnny, one more question before we let you go, right? What's your thoughts on Jake Paul? And did you watch that fight? Are you interested in that side of it? Or is it something that you're completely dismissive of?
Okay, and I've been asked this before, and I'll tell you the truth. I'm an old boy. You know, I didn't even know what a YouTuber was. You know, and I can remember when the Logan Paul was fighting KSI, and they asked me to do like a mock gloves are off between them at the YouTube studio down in London. So when I went down to London, goes to train at King's Cross, walked down to YouTube, and it was packed outside. Full of kids. I'm like, yes, boxing fans. I got my swagger. I'm walking in like, thinking that's me for an autograph. And kids are like looking, thinking, who's this old black man walking in here? I'm like, they're just looking at it. I'm like, all right, mister. Anyway, I walked in the place. I'm like, what? And so I said to the guy, remember, I'm interviewing these guys. I said, who are these people? They already said the YouTubers. Now, to me, again, what's a YouTuber? So again, I'm hustling my way through this gig, thinking they're YouTubers, all right? These kids are outside going mad at the window, banging on the window. I'm getting phone calls from kids of friends I know saying, "Oh, can you get me an autograph from KSI or an autograph?"
I was
from
calling.
I didn't get it. I still don't get it. But what they've done is they've tapped into something that the youngsters get, and that's where the numbers are. So you're asking me what do I think of it? What I'm saying is that they're getting more eyes onto boxing. Now, if you're looking at the true tradition of boxing, and these guys have come along and done what they've done, they probably wouldn't stand a chance with an experienced fighter. But what they're doing is at the level they're at, they're able to attract and capitalize on their popularity and bring championship viewers. They bring in millions to see them box. So they're novices, but they're getting the attention of what a world championship fighter will get. You can't knock them for that. They're novices. So you know what? Yeah, you'd think, wow, that's not fair. I've put years into this, and you guys are killing it in a few years. But they're good at what they do, which is being YouTubers. As far as I'm concerned, for our sport, it's got more people interested in our sport. As far as I'm concerned about the fighters themselves, stay in your lane, son. Stay in your lane. So therefore, you can fight people. You think, yeah, it's all right. So you look at Jake Paul, who got in there with a welterweight that was down to there on him, but then they talk about him fighting Tommy Fury, which will be there on him. That fight won't happen. Don't be surprised if that fight doesn't happen, because I think in that fight there, I think there was a realization as if to say, shit, this guy's a bit of all right. I've held my own with him, but I think maybe a step further, I'm going to get my ass given to me. So I think it's good that they've got the attention of people talking about it, loving all over it. We're talking about it. It's good that they're giving the opportunity for fighters to get paid on the bill. It's good that they're getting more people drawn to it, curious about it. So if, say, for instance, we get 10% of the viewers that watch that fight, the YouTubers fight, involved in boxing, that's a good thing. As far as I'm concerned, it's a good thing. And what they're doing is they're teaching traditional fighters to capitalize on their popularity outside of the ring to get fans to buy tickets. So, and actually, Jake Paul can actually box. He's at novice level, but he can actually box. And it's probably tough to give him credit because he's talking like he's a world champion. But the kid can actually box. He's putting bums on seats. So I don't think it's a problem. I don't. But these boys got to stay in the lane, because if they don't, they're going to get hurt.
Or else you're going to meet him in 6 months on a Triller fight card. You'll meet him in 6 months. Would you fight him?
Listen, of course, I'm an old man, but I'd still like slow my way through it. But what I'm saying is, you've got these young guys that are coming through being cheeky, they're being antagonistic to people that have been in our sport for another day, and they're actually inspiring the top tier of our sport. They're inspiring the people like Floyd Mayweather to step out and get involved. They're inspiring people like Oscar De La Hoya. They're inspiring people like Mike Tyson. These people were at the top of our game. So if they're thinking, hold on a minute, these young guys have come in and they've just brought something new to the game where people want to watch it. They can stream it through and get paid ridiculous money. Yeah, I'll tell you. I was asked if I would fight Oliver McCall. I'm like, Oliver McCall, he's old. So he's only 2 years older than me. And so only 8'2". And I thought, but I still train. So in my head, I'm like, I do that anyway. Sometimes I do exhibitions with like rugby players and whatever, here, there, and everywhere. But that's what I do. But I don't know what Oliver McCall does. But when I saw it, and there's talking about it, and then when they do a talk, I'm like, for real? Are you for real? Oh, wow, you want to do that? Play that game? So again, it was a chance to do something I do anyway, behind closed doors, but get paid for it, and it's not behind closed doors. Anyway, Oliver sent a video calling me out. And he said, would you post this video? I said, no, I'm not posting it because I'm 54. He's 56, but he looks 67. All right, 77. And I'm like, I ain't putting it out. I ain't doing that. But it's something they're considering trying to put together. And I thought, you know what? If they want to do it, let them do it. But and we're stupid. We still think we can do what we did when we were 22. We can't. We think we can in our head, but your body's saying, I can't do that stuff. And Nigel Benn is probably that great example. He was talking about fighting Sekio Beacon and talking about fighting in Roy Jones. But when you get older, it's harder to train like you did when you're 22, and especially if you're at championship level, because you're at championship level, you're used to performing at championship level and training at championship level. You can't do it when you're older, and that's the only opponent you can't beat, which is Father Time.
Yeah, it's impossible. Like obviously, I imagine with boxers as well, to give up that, to go from that sort of status where they're like the coolest, hardest people ever, and then, you know, with everything, all the flashing lights, and then the sort of the dip must just be.
Yeah. So I did something on Joe Lewis, and at the back end of his career, he was like doing exhibition bouts. He was wrestling. It was kind of sad, and maybe I don't know how this would sit with people, but then I saw Oscar De La Hoya, and he should have been fighting, and he got COVID, and I just thought it was kind of sad. You know, he's talking, I'm going to fight, and I'm thinking, Oscar, man, you know, you're trying to talk it like it's you're fighting, I don't know, Felix Trinidad. You know, this step out. There's certain people that should never do it. You know, have a ticket as fun. I'm going to have a play about this, but don't try and sell it to me like it's some real ass fight. You're going to knock somebody's ass out. And I actually sat there and I thought, nah, you shouldn't do this, man. But you know, it's just it's time. Time tells every story. And the money that's in fights now is ridiculous. The opportunity is ridiculous. It's a chance for the old boys to get a bit of fame for 5 minutes again. But I understand that, and it's addictable. It's a drug.
Well, Johnny, thank you so much for coming on. Just a disclaimer: if any listeners are wondering why Ryan hasn't been able to speak, it's not that he has a sore throat or we've put him on a ban, but
I forgot he was there.
Look, Johnny is the main star here. I'm just letting him flow with it.
Sorry, boys.
I'm just like a fan here, just witnessing it.
Ryan's in the middle of signing for a club, and they've put him up in this 5-star hotel with the worst Wi-Fi in the world. So he's having a nightmare.
5-star Best Western.
But you know what, boys? It's been a pleasure every time. I do talk a lot. I know I do. But you know what? We've not talked for a while, so it's like, no.
You're the Johnny, we love having you on.
For us, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're knowledgeable and you make it easy for us. So thank you so much for coming on, Johnny.
Johnny, thanks a million. Hopefully we'll do it again. And then whenever, obviously, we sign with Sky, we'll see you every week. So it'll be perfect.
Sweet. Lovely. Thank you, boys. Appreciate that. Take care. God bless.
Absolutely.
Come on, Johnny.
Bye.
Also, another big thank you goes to Wow Hydrate, who have came on board as a new sponsor for us as well. So why not push it and check out their website for some great deals.
I'd like to call that white girl problem. Better back in autumn. Every gift I try to get her, she already got them. Messing with the TA, wonder what she